Hey, hello, and we are live now. So very, very good to see you all here. I see lots of people popping up and starting to participate here with us. So if you can hear me, if you can see me, say hello in the chat, right? We want to make this very, very interactive. So tell me where you're from. Tell me what's your biggest issue that you have with cloud today, so we can start talking with you. We want to make this very, very interactive. I mean, whatever you were watching this, right? If you're watching this on YouTube or on the page for the Cloud Tech Days page, right? There is a chat either below here or on the side, right? Where you can type you can say hello. Hopefully I can, I'll be able to see you when you do this. Actually see what you write, right? Not see you. So don't worry. I'm not gonna look at you, or maybe I don't know how those things work, right? So you just say hello in the chat so I can hear you. If you are on Facebook, you can always say hello in the post here that we're gonna see it too, right? So I see Tony from Houston. So hi Tony, how are you doing? Paolo is from Italy. Hey Paolo, good to see you here. And actually, Paolo, I just realized maybe I called you Pablo last time. I don't know, because I'm kind of remember Pablo, but I see Paolo now. So maybe I misnamed you last week. I mean, on Monday, right? Hopefully not. So that's good to have you here again, Paolo. Awesome. Paolo, let me tell you one thing right away. This year, 2020, was the year I was going to go to Italy. Man, didn't happen. So I haven't been to Italy yet. So I gotta fix this, Paolo. That's awesome. Hey, Skummer, say hi, boss. And Serge says hi from Poland. That's awesome. Joaquim Amado says hello, boa tarde. Actually, I have to say bom dia para o Joaquim Amado. Joaquim Amado, eu infelizmente não tenho capacidade de fazer a língua. Oops, I'm sorry. I changed to Portuguese. All right, sorry. Unfortunately, I don't have, I read something from Joaquim in Portuguese and I switched to Portuguese. I'm sorry about that. So I don't have the capacity to do sign language, right? So Joaquim, right? Bom dia, Joaquim. That's what I can say right now. Okay. All right. So Paolo is saying that even my friends call me Pablo. So that's good. All right. So, hey, hello. And then I got here. Actually, let me put some of these comments here, right? So now, let me see here. I see Joaquim saying good afternoon. He's saying in Portuguese. Actually, Joaquim speaks sign language. And that's, unfortunately, I don't speak sign language. But, let me say here, there's a Serge from Poland, right? And so I got someone here that I can't say your name right now, but I know I'm doing fine. How about you, right? And then Mohammed, my good friend Mohammed. It's always good to see you too, Mohammed. Awesome, right? So, one more message here. Hello, right? That's good. Awesome. So we got all of these going. So let me going on, right? So we have lots of people already here. And so let me start calling our my good friend Ruslan Sinitsky. So Ruslan is the person that I know that knows most about the cloud. I said this on Monday because this is true, because Ruslan has, he used the cloud, he built a cloud company. He's helping, he's running millions of containers today on his cloud, right? So and that's awesome that I'm going to bring you here. Ruslan Sinitsky, CEO from Jelaski. Hey, Ruslan, how you doing, man?
Hello, Bruno. Thank you. Thank you for warm words again. And welcome everyone to our next session about cost efficiency, how to save money in the cloud, how to use the cloud in the most efficient way. So I'm very excited about this session. This session will bring you very interesting knowledge. It's pretty unique content we built today for today's sessions. So please stay with us, and I hope you will like it, and you will learn new things, and we'll be able to make your cloud journey more efficient. So instead of spending money on infrastructure, just spend money on your team or like on vacation, like, you know. So I'm very excited to, yeah, I'm very excited about current session and looking forward to, you know, to start and meet your questions, actually, to get your questions.
That's awesome. So I love the idea of spending money on vacation, right? Instead of
exactly.
So that's good. Awesome. So my friend here said his name is Noor Uddin in English. That's good. Thanks a lot, Noor, for being here. Where are you from, Noor? Say Omar is from Ecuador. That's awesome. This is Max from Brazil. So good to have all of you here. That's awesome. People from all over the world participating with us here. And we do have a guest, Ruslan, that he is from Brazil, but he actually lives in Europe right now. He lives in Ireland. So let me bring you here my good friend, Rafael Del Nero. Rafael is a Java champion. So you're actually going to have 3 Java champions here on this discussion. So Rafael is a Java champion. He's a senior developer. He's been working on, Rafael has this awesome thing that he helps people acquire the right skills for the job, right? So, you know, with you guys, Rafael Del Nero. Welcome, Rafael. Good to have you here, man.
Hey, hello, everyone. Thanks a lot for introducing me, Bruno. Hello, Ruslan. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm sure that I'll be learning a lot about cloud, and I'll be sharing as much value as I can to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Yeah.
Thanks. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, that's awesome, Rafael. Very, very good. So let me say some here. So Noor is from Bangladesh, right? We actually have a good friend from Bangladesh, right, Rafael? You know, Baz Noor is a good friend of ours. It's from Bangladesh. So that's awesome, Noor, that you're from Bangladesh and here with us. And I see Penna from Bhutan. That's awesome. And Peter from the Netherlands. He's here with us. Let me see who else. So I already said Max from Brazil is here. And then we have, you know, hello, Penna. Pema. That's good. And then Cloud for Java, it's Dorival, right? So Dorival is a friend of ours from Brazil, right? So that's awesome. So, you know, so Dorival is actually a specialist in cloud that's here with us. That's awesome. All right. So, you know, we have all kinds of cool people here. So feel free. You know, we want to make this very, very interactive. So if you're watching us right now, feel free to send your questions, to participate on the chat all the time. But before we get started, let me just say really quick, you know, we do have this whole thing here is happening on this initiative that you know that I'm doing together with Ruslan. That's called the Cloud Tech Days, right? So it's a whole week of cloud discussions with you. So, you know, if you are watching this on Facebook or maybe YouTube or something that you're not part of the Cloud Tech Days initiative yet, I would suggest you to go here right now, cloudtechdays.com, because, you know, by going there, you're going to receive the link to the replays. You're going to receive the links for these slides, right? You're going to receive some special content from Rafael. There's a lot of good things you're going to have. You're going to receive a book. I'm going to give you guys a book later this week, right? So there's a lot of good content that you can participate. So if you're not registered yet, come here to cloudtechdays.com. It's very fast, and you don't even need to leave. Just open out another window, cloudtechdays.com, put your name and email there so you can receive our messages and our things this week, right? And actually, you're going to be invited to participate on our Facebook group where we're all part of that, so we can answer your questions there too. So let's make this very, very interactive, because we want to help you really, really grow your career and get your cloud skills ready this week, right? So we want to make sure that you have every need to move your project to the cloud during this week, right? So go here right now, cloudtechdays.com, so you can actually do this. And I know Rafael is actually going to give us a book later, right? Rafael, is that one of your plans, to give us a book today, right? So, you know, Rafael can send me, if you can send me on the private chat, send me a link for your book, so I can, whenever we get to that point, we can give everyone a book today. So with those announcements out of the way, let's get started. So Ruslan, let's see if there's anyone here wants more in the chat, right? So
yeah,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, there is one good question. Like maybe we can start from this one. Yeah, like about PHP developer.
All right. So Noor says, I'm a PHP Laravel developer, right? Yeah. And we use A2 host. How cloud can help us? So Ruslan, go ahead, man. How cloud can help you? Can help
Look,
Noor.
PHP is great language actually, and we are like language agnostic. Cloud is language agnostic. Cloud is for every language, not only for like Java or like Node.js, like and for PHP as well. So you can enjoy cost efficiency in the cloud for PHP. And actually, maybe you don't know, but just to emphasize, like father of PHP is my friend. We are collaborating together. He helped us specifically at the early days to improve Jelastic, to make it better, to make our cloud better for PHP developers. I'm super excited to to have such great connection directly to the guy who invented PHP language. And what A2 host is considering to become a real cloud. So they talking to us and they're considering to become a cloud. So if you can come and go and send their support team request, like guys, when Jelastic will be available at A2 host, so it will speed up your journey. Like, so you will be able to get cloud directly at A2 host. So just answering quickly this question. But today we will talk about general efficiency in the cloud. So about not only about specifically Jelastic, but about other clouds, not specifically about A2 host or like general knowledge. And of course, we will touch some advanced things, some advanced features that our cloud provides. Because we did some very specific and very unique features for developers to save even more money today, like because we understand, we came from developers world, like so we know that every penny is counted for startups, and we want to help developers to save this money. Yeah, and we proved this. So Bruno can confirm he migrated his project from one cloud to another one, and he saved a lot of money and effort there, right? So now he can spend more cash or like I don't know more money on travels. Maybe not this year, but at least for family needs.
Okay,
good.
That's awesome, Ruslan.
Good. So, are we ready to go?
Yeah, we're ready to go. So before I do this, so because I mentioned that we're going to give Rafael's book, and I need to do this to make sure it works. So let me see. Let me just see that. If you guys can see here, that's Rafael books right there, right? So sendfox.com/Java Challengers. Right, so the challenge developer guide. So we're gonna talk more about this later today, right? But that's if you want to have Rafael's book right there, that's the link for you. Just because I mentioned it, but we're gonna get back to this at the right time. All right, Ruslan. So we have here. Let me see here. Let me see if there's anyone else here in the chat asking anything. No question in the chat. All right. So Ruslan, why don't we start with you giving like a little bit of a general idea of how important cloud efficiency is, and so we go from there.
Okay, sounds good. So just to emphasize, this is the link for the book of Rafael. Yeah, you can go, just print your name and email and download this book. And yeah, today we will talk. Yeah, today we will talk about cloud efficiency, cost optimization.
Wait.
About
Wait. Let me just gonna get your. I gotta get your. Okay.
And yes. Me now.
So let me make sure that I get your presentation there. All right. So.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
So guys, do you hear me now? Do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome, Rafael. Thank you for confirming. Efficiency is very important. As I mentioned, it's not a smart way to spend money for resources that are not used, right? So you need to optimize your cloud infrastructure to get maximum benefits from the cloud infrastructure. So, and surveys confirm that one of the most challenging tasks is controlling cloud costs. So control your expenses, to control your expense on the cloud is can be a challenge, it can be difficult. Why? Because in the past we had like fixed price, right? Like, so you pay like fixed price and every month. Today, price can be variable because you may have variable load, right? Or you may do some extra, you may launch some extra project. So it's not really fixed. And believe me, if you still go fixed price, nobody from cloud service providers offer you more than you pay. Like, so if you pay fixed price, the most likely you overpay, because otherwise business model will not work for cloud providers. And this is why pay as you go or alternative model like pay per use is more efficient sorry, comparing to fixed price. But you still need to have some tools to control your cost, and it might be a challenge. And how many people waste resources? At least self-estimation waste is about 30%. It's a lot. So just imagine if you spend like $100, about $30 it just waste. You may improve your usage of cloud resources, and you may improve it. Make it more efficient. However, from my point of view, the situation is even worse because many people still do not realize that they overpay for unused resources. So I would estimate it's like 50% of workloads that are in the cloud, they are not optimized for cost efficiency today. So it's possible to fix, but you need to know like specific approaches how to fix this. And as we see, like the most trending approach this year related to the cloud is the optimization of cloud resource usage. It's the cost saving. So it's based on survey from Flexa for this year. And another interesting facts to consider is how migration works. This is analysis from Gartner. They analyzed one of the projects that migrated from on-premise to cloud. This project is actually a big one. They migrated about 2,500 virtual machines from on-premise to cloud. But you can get like general idea like how it works. Like you can apply for smaller number of virtual machines. So how it works at the beginning, like let's say like dark blue or like navy blue, it was expenses on private cloud, and light blue is the expense in public cloud. So private cloud, when I say private cloud, I mean like their own infrastructure. So they bought servers, they manage servers by themselves, they did like upgrades, software and maintenance, everything was done by themselves. And light blue is more like when you deploy to public cloud, right? So what happened during the time? They started to play with cloud, right? Like some kind of POC. So it increased a little bit more cost. Then they put investment to migrate virtual machines. Remember, they had 2,500 virtual machines. And during the time, like actually investment to migrate this machine was the most highest cost because people efforts, they are more expensive than infrastructures and resources. So please keep it in mind that again, like human efforts, like 1 hour of human time is more expensive than 1 hour than just, like simple virtual machine. In the most cases, again, it depends on your quality of your knowledge and how good the expert you are and other factors. But in general, people are more expensive than infrastructure. So, and then they migrated infrastructure, right? And we see cloud cost went higher than cost of private cloud or cloud on-premise, infrastructure on-premise. And at some time, they migrated everything, right? And they were running two things in parallel, like infrastructure on-premise and in cloud. But later, they shut down data center in private cloud, and then they figure out like how to optimize expenses in the cloud. And the final result was they were able to decrease expense for managing infrastructure, for running infrastructure, up to 55%, which is great. So all the rest times they will pay less on 55%. And there are very interesting points to consider after they finished migration. They did like 3 specific actions you need to take into account and repeat for yourself. First of all, they did right sizing. It means they tried to optimize for good performance, but at the same time lower cost. Maybe again, like you can buy a little bit less resources, right? And you will not lose performance for your infrastructure. This is very important to understand. So right sizing can reduce your expense in the cloud. Don't buy like, you know, a lot in advance, like, because it just doesn't make sense. Like try to do, to buy as much as you need exactly in specific period of time. However, as we know, like workloads are dynamic, like so more workloads are during the day, less workloads during the night. Then this company applied like scheduling policies. So they bring up machines during the day and they bring down during the night, or they configure, let's say, automatic scaling, right? So they did little bit more smart provisioning of additional resources. And this definitely can save you money, because in the past, usually what you do if you go like for on-premise infrastructure, or when you go like for fixed price, you must buy like for maximum possible workload. Because like if you don't have enough infrastructure and when load is coming, you will have downtime. So, and the third point, how they achieved additional discounts, let's say, they bought reserved infrastructure. Like, so they said like they did some commitment. How it worked? Like they analyzed it. Okay, like I have some amounts that I use in any case, like right, like so some specific amounts that I use during the day and during the night. During the day, like I have extra stuff, but let's say like all these flat resources I can reserve in advance. So I can go and say to the cloud that I am committing for these resources, that I will use them like for a long period of time. And this will give you additional discount. So this is very useful and to understand. So applying 3 approaches like right sizing, scheduling and auto scaling, and reserving instances in advance can bring you maximum efficiency. So guys, do you have any questions at this point? Like maybe Rafael, maybe you can share like your experience related to right sizing or something related to auto scaling. I'm online still?
Yes, you are online, yes.
Okay, good. So no questions, no additional comments. Let's move on then. Let's talk about efficiency, how you can achieve.
So before you go on, Ruslan, there are, let me just kind of say, there's some people hello here.
Okay.
So Paulo says hello, right? So Paulo is watching us on LinkedIn, right? That's awesome, Paulo. Good to see you here, man. We also have Mark Guillaume from Germany, and he's here with us. Hey, Mark, good to see you here, man. There's one cool thing here that Tatiana is telling us that Rasmur Lerdorf, the creator of PHP, we have a birthday Sunday, right? So here, what I'm going to do right now, you know, since Rasmur is friend of Ruslan, I'm putting here on the chat Rasmus tweet, right? So you can go on Twitter right now and you can say hello, right? Tell Rasmur that you're watching a presentation from his friend Ruslan, and that Ruslan mentioned it was his birthday. So you can now congratulate him, right? So that's a cool thing. So what do you want to say to Rasmur, Ruslan?
So I wish him specifically, I know he loves PHP very much because he committed a lot of efforts behind it. Like, so I wish great success, you know, like PHP is growing, honestly, and may even like, honestly, guys, like in Jelastic, Java had #1 usage, but today, like we have more PHP users than Java users. like it's simpler to start, like, and there are many PHP projects. It doesn't mean like that one is better than another one, like, so you can use each of them according to your specific needs. Again, like, and I don't like, honestly, this wars between languages, because I am friend with Rasmus, who is father of PHP, like I am friend with James Gosling, who is father of Java, right? Like, so it just does not make sense to fight between these languages, like, and we do support all languages, even like Node.js and Python and Ruby, like, so it depends on your specific needs, so you need to choose specific language. But again, like, I wish Rasmus strong health first of all, like, try to stay on positive side, like, even there are things are going on negative around, but there's always things can be found positive. So I wish, again, like, health for his family, and I wish great success to his project. And I hope Gelastic will help to make it even more successful and useful. I mean, widely used across the community.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Ruslan. And I have here a good friend, Morvana. Hey, Morvana, good to see you here. Awesome to have you here. And so she says, thanks for sharing. Congratulations, promote this type of conversation, right? To help us improve our knowledge. So, Rafael, let me ask you one thing here on what Morvana is talking about here. Do you think that understanding all this discussion we're having here about cloud this whole week, do you think this is important for developers, in our language? I know you're more like a Java developer. You think that's important for developers in general?
For sure. Nowadays, the market is just surrounded by the cloud. And every company, they are using microservices and serverless applications. So currently, if you don't know cloud, you are, well, I'm going to use a strong word here, but you might become, or you might already be obsolete for the market, because even for companies who have monolith projects, they are moving everything to the cloud. So this knowledge is crucial. It's very important. We need to be studying every day, to reserve some time, at least I would say 25 minutes a day. That would be great for your growth and for your career.
All right, that's
I agree with Rafael. With Rafael here, like, so cloud is mandatory knowledge today, like, because everything is moving cloud. It just does not make sense, like, to stay like old kind of school, to use bare metal. Again, like, it's good to use bare metal. It means, like, but it's for only specific things. Like, if you are doing like very big or like very cost efficient, like extremely like cost efficient, so you need to know like exactly what you do, like, but you need to consider your time. So your time is very expensive. So bare metal is mostly today like for like large, huge projects, like, so mostly like for like service providers, I would say, right? Like, or for like banks, like, or for organizations that have data security concerns, right? Even like cloud very often is more secure than your private data center, because there are a lot of experts are working on security in the cloud. So it's a mandatory knowledge, honestly, today. Like, it's like, like knowing some language in the past, programming language. Today, like, knowing cloud is important, like at least understanding how it works. Maybe because there are tools that help you to go to the cloud and do stuff in the cloud. But again, like, basic things is a mandatory stuff. And also one more comment about microservices and monoliths. It's from my opinion, again, like, microservices are good. Still, like, monoliths is good as well. Like, it's like war between languages the same way, honestly, because you can still run your monoliths in the cloud if you do properly. Like, there is no problem with this, and you can make it scalable. Last time we discussed scalability, and actually we touched this topic about scaling vertically. You can scale easily monolith applications vertically, like, and the vertical scaling is the first thing you need to take into account when you think about performance increase, right? Like, of course, you cannot achieve availability, but again, like, it depends what is the problem. So, like, and the truth usually in between, like, sometimes you need to do monolith, sometimes you need to do microservices, like, because starting big from the beginning, like, for small project might not be very efficient. You need to prove your concept, like, you need to build like minimum viable product, to test if your idea is valid for the market, because like you start to build this nice cool architecture, but look, like in 6 months you have no money for your team anymore, like, you know, and your product is not on the market, like who cares about your architecture like after this? Like nobody, because nobody is using the product. So think wisely when you do, like, start from things you can do the best and learn and improve in the future. Like having scalability problem is less problem than having nobody is using your product, like, you know.
Exactly.
That's right. So Rafael, when people start learning things, right? People tend to want to learn everything at the same time, right? So what is your recommendation in terms of getting into this thing?
Our recommendation is to focus on one technology one by one, because if you try to learn everything at the same time, you will learn nothing. So I would highly recommend developers to focus. For example, if they're not used to containers, learn containers first, bit by bit. Don't try to learn everything just one day, because learning is a process. So you should, like the ideal thing is to create a routine where you can practice this skill bit by bit every day. And then eventually you're going to acquire this skill. And once you finish one technology, you go to the next one. Don't try to learn everything at the same time, because what will usually happen is that you're going to get frustrated and you will get demotivated to learn more. Because nowadays in the market, there are so many technologies to learn that if we try to embrace the world, what we do, we usually procrastinate and don't learn anything. So learn one by one and have focus.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And we're going to talk more about this here today, because, you know, the idea is, and one of the things that I think it's very, very important that the cloud is cost effective is because, you know, the best way for you to learn is doing, right? It's actually going and do project. So if you can do project in a cost effective way in the cloud, then it means that you can do more projects and you can learn better, right? And so Paolo is saying here to us, you know, Just Enough Software Architecture is a must read. So that's a cool book right there that Paolo is suggesting. Just Enough Software Architecture. Awesome. Okay, so that's all great. So actually, before you know we go on, Ruslan, you know, just kind of something that we were talking about last on Monday, right? So if you miss it here, let me just gotta get back here really quick. So if you miss it, the conversation on Monday, right? So if that's your first day here, remember that if you come here to cloudtechdays.com, you can access the recordings, right, that we had on Monday. And so one thing that we mentioned on Monday that was very, very important on this cloud discussion is that, you know, the reason why, even if it doesn't matter if you're doing a monolith, doesn't matter if you're doing Microsoft, no, doesn't matter what you're doing right now, the reason why you gotta move to the cloud is that there's a lot of reasons, right? There's a lot of reasons, but one reason that I like a lot is the fact that Moore's law, it's coming to an end, right? It's people say that Moore's law was gonna end this year, right? Because it's gonna be not cost effective anymore to double you know, the number of transistors in a chip. But more than that, right? It's not about the future, it's about the past. Since 2006, for the last 14 years, the speed of a single thread application has come, you know, it's slowing down and it's now pretty much plateaued, right? So it has plateaued the speed of a single thread application. What does that mean? That if you run in a monolith, right, that is a single thread application for any reason, you're not gonna get speeds magically going forward. So you have to divide this in multiple things. You have to have more threads, more cores, more CPUs, more servers, right? You're gonna have to. There's no way out. So because there's no way out, the sooner you start experimenting your things in the cloud, the better off you're gonna be prepared for the future, right? So, you know, I really think that that's why we're doing this whole week here of cloud. So come here to cloudtechdays.com and register there to make sure that you have access to the recordings, to make sure that you have access to all the materials that we're gonna give here, so you can participate with us. All right. So any more comments, guys? Let me see here. Anyone else here in the chat? So Paolo, oh no, not Paolo, Paulo is recommending Rafael's book, Golden Lessons. He says it's awesome, right?
Thanks a lot, Paulo.
Yeah. So I love this book too. Actually, this is the book that I wrote the foreword, right? So I really love this book. That's an awesome book.
Okay. Thanks, Bruno, for that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Rafael. That's a great book. Okay, so Ruslan, back to you, man.
Yeah, so let me share my screen again. And yeah, I will start from efficiency and virtualization.
Ruslan, let me tell you one thing. Let me just tell you one thing. You can just leave your screen share the whole time.
Okay, no problem.
It's easier for me here. All right.
No problem, yeah. By the way, do you see me when I share my screen or you don't see me?
I see you, yes.
Okay, so people see me too, right?
Yes, everyone's seeing you.
Okay,
yes.
Awesome. Okay, good, no problem. So, containers. Actually, Rafael mentioned containers. If you don't know containers, start to learn a little bit. And this is the future of the cloud because there are a lot of workloads already in the containers, and more migration from bare metal or from virtual machines are happening to containers. And according to another survey, cost saving can be done with more efficient hardware utilization. So in containers, technology can help you because containers provide better efficiency. And let's discover how it works. And there are two types of containers. We know application containers. So people use them very often today, right? And it's represented by Docker mostly. And they're the most slim kind of virtualization, right? So we have Docker engine, we have config clips inside container, and we have microservice inside, right? It's very good solution today, to start to learn about containers. And yeah, you can create your microservices and run them in an efficient way. There is another kind of containers, which is called system containers. And something in between application containers and virtual machines. So they are, let's say, as slim as almost as application containers, right? And they are as secure as virtual machines. But system containers, while application containers are focused on running one application only, one process inside container, right? System containers can run full-fledged operation system, many processes inside, multiple processes inside. So, and actually monolith or legacy, or actually so-called traditional applications, it's easier to migrate them to system containers than application containers because you don't need to redesign your application, honestly. So you just grab your source code or your binaries and deploy in the same way to system containers because they behave almost exactly in the same way like virtual machines, right? With application containers, you need to do a little bit more dance around to make sure that you're running only one process inside. It's still possible to run multiple processes, but it's not the best practice, honestly. And so you need to do it properly. Also, application containers are related to stateless approach. You need to think in stateless way, while system containers can handle both stateless and stateful approaches. And on the market, stateful system containers are represented by LXC, which is translated Linux containers, actually, yeah. And Virtuoso. Virtuoso is another great company. They work with containers more than 15 years on the market and is production ready. So, and what about efficiency? As we can see, application containers and system containers are more efficient than virtual machines because they don't have guest OS. Each virtual machine has own guest OS, and it means they have own overhead, for operating system. While with containers, containers share operating system, and they don't have for each container own operating system because they're running in the same kernel. So if it's too hard for you, just take it as is. Containers are more efficient compared to virtual machines in terms of resource usage. Also, containers are more elastic. You can scale them easily, vertically and horizontally as well. So cloud becomes more efficient with them. And for example, how it works in the cloud. Today, there is very interesting comparison. If you go to big cloud vendors and you buy virtual machine, let's say like 4 GB of RAM, right? And you use, let's say 2 GB of RAM, what will happen? You will pay for 4 GB regardless of how much resources you use. And just imagine you get a little bit more load. You need 1 more gigabyte. You cannot get 1 more gigabyte at the most vendors, cloud vendors today. Some of them are providing very granular ability to increase resource available for virtual machine, but in the most cloud vendors, it's impossible. So you have to buy twice bigger. So you have 4 GB, you need 1 more, but you have to buy 8 GB. So like you overpay for 3 more gigabytes. So they are not used. And same story happens, for example, if you reach limits with 8 GB, you need 1 more gigabyte like to get like 9, you must buy like 16. So when you scale vertically with virtual machines, like you have to buy always 2 times more. And again, like at the most cloud vendors, you must put extra efforts to migrate your application from one container to another, or sorry, from one virtual machine to another. So to extract and from old machine and to put into a new one, because it's impossible to resize on the fly the same virtual machine at the majority of cloud vendors. The containers, it's different. Even if you order like bigger amounts than you need, containers share resources on the same physical host by default. So it's done by by operating system, by kernel. You don't need to worry about this. While with virtual machines, it's possible, but it's very complicated and very complex situation. Majority of cloud vendors just do not offer this feature, which is called ballooning. So, but with containers, we are jumping to a new era, while still, again, like some vendors offer, force you to pay for the limits. Remember, like containers share resources, and most likely in the future, these cloud vendors will be able to, to adjust their pricing and offer better models. So when they charge you only for what you use exactly. So that was about efficiency between containers and virtual machines. Now let's talk about right sizing. Remember when I showed chart about optimization of cloud expenses, and the company did right sizing model. So what is the right sizing problem in general? It means when you put your application in the wrong virtual environment. For example, if your application is big, I mean, it requires a lot of resources, but you wanted to save money and you put into very small virtual environment, into a virtual machine or into virtual container. So this is an example, like, right? And another case of another site, when you put your small application into much bigger environment than your application requires, and in this case, you will just overpay for resources. In the previous case, like you will face downtime when load is coming up. So this is called like right sizing problem. And the problem today, like you need to think in advance, like how much resources you need to allocate. And this is the problem of the cloud actually today. Like I do believe it will be solved in the future, but unfortunately it exists today. Like, so you need to guess in advance how much resources you have to reserve. Like 2 GB, like, or maybe like 16 GB, like, and as I mentioned, if you over allocate, like you overpay. If you under allocate, like you will lose your customers, you will lose revenue, and you need to balance. There are some solutions that help you to do this with automation, advanced automation, right? Like advanced orchestration platforms. But you need to understand like that you have this problem. Almost everyone faces this problem in the cloud. And when I mentioned that people like underestimate their let's say like waste in the cloud, I meant that they have right sizing problem. And in the most cases, when they put smaller application in the bigger resources, they even don't have a clue that there is a problem. Because you need to go like and track exactly like, okay, how much resources is consumed by your application, like what is the maximum spike was during a specific period of time, like do you need all these resources or maybe not, like, it's quite complicated, and people efforts are expensive and they, they prefer to leave it as this. Like, but when you scale for a big range, you have like hundreds of containers, right? This problem becomes even bigger. How we can solve this problem? Because it's a very big pain, and our team came with a solution to the market, which is called pay-per-use. So it's a new next generation billing model, which is applicable for container-based workloads. Maybe in the future it will be possible to apply for virtual machines, but today it will work only with containers because they are more flexible in terms of resource sharing. And how it works with virtual machines, as I mentioned, like you buy some size of virtual machine, like let's say like 16 gigabyte, right? But if you use only like half of this, like 8 gigabyte, you will still have to pay for the limits, like for all 16 gigabytes. And this model is called like pay as you go. Why it means like pay as you go? Go means like when the virtual machine is running, you're paying money. So when it's not running, you do not pay. This is why they call like go, but still you pay for the limits of this virtual machine. And then like another model, which is called like pay per use. You can set like limits, scaling limits, right? But in reality, you will pay for what you use. It means there is extra level, like next level of flexibility. You can set very high limits because you don't pay for those limits anymore. Like you have a good security. At the same time, like system will understand like, okay, what is the current usage? Like what is the real consumption? And will charge you accordingly. And it saves a lot of efforts because now the problem is solved. Like you just set high limits and you're fine. Like of course you can set thresholds. If your usage is going higher, your expectations, you can get a threshold alert from the system, and you will be able to see like, okay, like what's going on? Like, did I get more traffic to my website? Like, or did I get like DDoS attack? Like, or you know, like so it's still controllable. So you can control your expense, but it reduces this right sizing problem. So I hope this is clear because it's very, very important. And you have a right to demand this model from your service provider, from your cloud. So say like, guys, like when you're going to offer like pay-per-use, like give us this new model. So because more and more cloud vendors starting to join this movement and offer this next generation pricing model. There is one interesting point that we learned, like there is a speculation around like pay-per-use term. Because people put different things, like, you know, it happens in IT when people call by the same term different things, like, and even sometimes they, you know, they're completely different. So please keep in mind, like pay-per-use, it does not equal like pay as you go. It does not equal like pay as you run or pay as you allocate, pay as you reserve. All this, like just named, like it's pay for the limits, right? Like by pay-per-use, it means pay for real usage. And how to prove this, and what is the like anchor in this case? Like if you go just to a Linux operating system, right, and you print like free -m, you will see how much memory is used by your operating system. So you can see like green, right, like used. They call it a specific word, used memory. So it means like pay-per-use for used memory or like for used CPU. And total, which is like limit for your virtual machine, it means like pay as you go or pay for the limits. So please keep this in mind. It's very important. And where is the speculation now? Let's analyze big cloud vendors, like what they say. Like actually, it's very interesting. Like they use different words. I don't know. Maybe it's like for confusion. Like you know, they want to do it intentionally. Like or maybe there is some kind of wrong wording. But it's very interesting to say, like, so to see what they say, like at the website, they say like pay for the amount of CPU and memory you containerized application requests. It means like for the limits. And here they say like you only pay for what you use, right? So you may think like, okay, it will be only for what is used inside. But when you go inside the dashboard and when you see like when you specify specific limits, you will be notified like you are billed for the task memory and task CPU allocated. So for the maximum limit, which is actually confusion, right? Like so in one at one point they say like you will pay for what you use, at another they say like pay for what you allocate. Same actually happens at another big cloud vendor. So they say like you charges or you only for the resources you use, and little bit lower they say like bill it only for CPU and memory allocated. It's again like some kind of confusion. Like I don't know why they do it. Maybe pay per use sounds more interesting for end customers, but they must then offer this next generation pricing model. And again, like if you go and see in dashboard, they will exactly say, here is the right wording, memory to allocate to each container instance. So at the marketing web page, they say like pay per use. In the dashboard, they say like pay per allocation. So just again, like keep this in mind. Now you know this. And why it's important? Why it's important? Because so we did the experiment. We analyzed usage across many service providers, cloud service providers during long period of time, like so 5 years, let's say, right? And we analyzed the two factors: how much resources were consumed by applications, actually consumed, right, and how much people set limits. And you can see the difference is huge. So even today, like people put like 5 more times limits comparing to what they use, because people want to have some security, some insurance in case a load is coming, right? And in reality, their applications use less because there is like idle stage, like there are a lot of development environments, like staging environments, so they just do not use all the resources every time. And again, like just to show you another extreme example, like I have
go back to the previous slide, because I think this is really important, right? Actually, Paolo is saying here that the point is host resource allocation, right? That's that's where the real saving comes from. And then Rade says pay for consumption is the way forward, and I think this graphic right there shows exactly this, right? So basically what you're saying, I just want to make sure that everyone understands this. So basically on the red line right there is the limit that people say that's how much they allocate. I mean, they say I want to use that much on the limit, right? I want that's what I think my application is going to need. That's the limit. And then the green is actually the usage, right? So if you're paying per use, you're going to pay the green, but if you're paying per allocation, you're going to pay the reds. That's the difference.
Correct, exactly like so. And now so we altogether have a power. You can go and demand from your service provider, like give me fair pay-per-use model. Because there is like, other providers offer it, like why you do not offer it? Like why still staying, in the old age? Like, and actually guys, like if they charge you for containers for the limits, it's completely unfair. Because like like with virtual machines, it's still understandable because they allocate resources for virtual machines. In the most cases, like virtual machine reserves these resources. Containers, they share resources by default with other containers. Right. So it means they just oversell you, like, and it's not fair.
Right. That's exactly what Paolo is saying, right? The point is to share the resources dynamically, right? That's where the saving comes from. So basically, you're saying that if people charge you by the limits, right, by the allocation, then they are actually sharing this resource with other containers, but they're charging every single one of those people for the maximum, right? Is that correct? Is that basically the way it's done?
Correct. So you got the point. It's very important to understand, like, because more people understand, faster we will get it across all providers. Because as soon as more providers join this movement, the rest just will have no choice, because like nobody will go and buy resources from unfair billing models.
Right. Okay.
Good. And let me show you like real example. Like, so I have a cluster, right? And it's based on multiple containers. You can see like it's high availability scheme. We have like 2 load balancers. So we have 4 application servers based on Tomcat. We have like Galera cluster, like 3 nodes, and we have 2 proxy nodes to distribute load to Galera. And just to show you what is the usage, let's check application servers, right? And you can see memory consumption is 400 megabytes, but my limit is 32 gigabytes. The difference is huge, right? And if you go and if your service provider charge you for the maximum limit, you can see it's a lot of you overpay a lot. The problem is that many people just don't check it, and they don't realize that the problem exists. And I checked only 4 containers, guys. We can check additional containers, like database. And same like here, we have limit 27 gigabyte and real usage only about less than 3 gigabyte. So it's about 10 times difference. And if we add all these limits, the limits will be up to like 70 gigabytes of memory, right? But real usage is about like 8 GB memory only. So the difference is huge. And at real next generation pricing model, which is pay per use, you will be charged only for what you use. So take this into account and feel free to go and demand this model from your service provider. Actually, you can demand this model from A2Host as well.
And there's one interesting thing right there, Ruslan, is that basically when we say about pay per the limits, right? Basically, oops, looks like I'm sorry. Looks like I removed it. Unfortunately. Okay, I made a mistake and removed Rafael from the stream. Sorry about that, Rafael. So Rafael is here. I'm sorry about that. So Ruslan, one of the things that I see is that when you think about the limits of your application, right? You don't think about limits in terms of that's how much my application use every day, right? We usually think about, well, one day when everyone is accessing, that's going to be my limit. It's going to be very, very high. Right. And then I set this limit very high because I want to make sure that when everyone is accessing, I can go all the way up to that limit. But then this actually damages me, right? Because if I do this on a provider that pays per allocation, I'm going to pay a lot of money all the time. But are you saying that it is possible for me to put a high limit? If everyone accesses, then I'm going to hit the high limit. But then, when you hit the high limit for, I don't know, for 10 minutes, for 1 hour, for 2 hours, and then it goes back down again, I'm only going to pay for that for the period where I hit the limits. Is that what you're talking about here?
Exactly. This I'm talking exactly about this problem. Yeah. So and solution available on the market. You don't want to go down, right? And you don't want to go to overpay for resources. So it should be some kind of solution, because like to adjust this manually is impossible. Load might come during the night, right? Like, or you might be on the beach, like during the vacation. Like, why you need to jump, like, and adjust these resources? It doesn't make sense, honestly. Like, so we are living in a very advanced era already, and machines shall do it, right? The problem is now, like, so we have all technologies. The problem is some vendors, they just don't want to lose their revenue, right? They want to charge you for maximum limits, and we must change this together. Like, so only together we can change it. So we did it from our side. We proved this model works. We bring first pioneers who prove this model works, right? Like, and customers are super happy with this, and providers are happy as well, because they feel better. Like, they don't oversell, and they have smart algorithms inside, like that use right utilization of their infrastructure. So they don't need to, again, like, to think about what is the spare resources. So because, again, like, the technologies became more advanced, like less involvement of people is required today. And they introduced this new model, and everyone is happy. We need just to get more providers who join this movement. And fix actually wording, like, please go to these cloud providers and ask them, like, why they confuse you. So why they say, like, you pay for what you use, but in reality, like, they charge you for what you allocate. So, good. I hope this is clear, like, and this topic was very important to understand. Let's go to Java specifically. Yeah.
I do think this topic is very, very important. And so do you Rafael, do you want to have any comments about this? Do you guys have problems with allocating and paying high resources in your company? Is that a problem for you guys at all, or you just have so much money that you don't care?
Yeah, I think that's the case. I think the company has so much money that they don't really care. They just spend a lot of money.
Correct. Right. So that's another problem. Look, like, they have money, but they, how to say, like, they still appreciate human force. They don't want people to go and fix this problem, like, because for them it's cheaper to pay for infrastructure than fix it by people.
Right.
So, and we will talk this later. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Awesome. All right. There's a comment here, Ruslan. I changed a little bit what the topic we're talking about, but Paulo is saying that just as a clarification, right? Each container does contain a separate OS beyond the kernel. It has its own user space application and library, so you can run an entire OS inside a Docker container. So let's talk more about Docker container. And you mentioned the difference between a Docker container and a system container. Do you want to talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, look, with containers, with system container and application containers, there is only one there is one OS, and they share kernel. They still can have own libraries inside, but they have one guest OS system, operating system on the host. So they share libraries and resources from the operating system across all of them. With hypervisor, there is operating system inside the host, and there is operating system inside each hypervisor. And this operating system can be different in each virtual machine. So that's the difference. Hypervisors, virtual machines, they less efficient because they have overhead for each virtual machine operating system inside.
Okay.
Does it clarify?
Right. Yeah. Okay, good. So, and just kind of I got to do this announcement from time to time, right? So bear with me with this. So, feel free to ask questions, right? Please, everyone here, ask as many questions as you want. The idea is that we want to discuss the topics that are important for you, right? So ask as many questions as you want. And if for any reason, if you're watching this in any place that is not the Cloud Tech Days website, maybe you're not registered for Cloud Tech Days. So I would suggest you to come here and register for cloudtechdays.com, because then you're going to receive an email with the recordings. You're going to receive information about the slides, and you're going to receive lots of other material. You're going to receive gifts from me. I'm going to give you guys a book later this week. Rafael is going to give you a book later this week. So if you join the Cloud Tech Days, then that's going to be, we can send you the free stuff later today. Okay. All right. So, all right. So any more comments, Rafael? Any more comments, Ruslan, before we keep going here? Any more questions for everyone in the chat? Please feel free to ask questions. So there is a Hatana says, with cloud techniques, is it necessary to learn Docker containers? So do you have to learn Docker containers to actually do any of that, Ruslan?
Look, it's not necessary, but I recommend you definitely, because it's widely used technology. Docker build, actually Docker may make it popular. Yeah, evangelize this technology across many sectors in the past. Look, containers are not something new. It was available on the market even before Docker did it, but in the past it was used mostly by ops guys. Who do like data center management, it was very popular in the VPS market. Many VPS offers were running on top of containers because it provides very good density, and it brings higher return of investment for service providers. But Docker did very magical stuff, so they improved this technology in terms of continuous integration, continuous delivery, and they made this available for developers. They built nice solutions for desktops, and you can install now. So you can, as a developer, you can be more productive now with Docker. It still requires some additional knowledge from your side, right? But I do recommend you to learn about containers, at least start from Dockers and then think about other kind of containers, because Docker is not only solution on the market, right? And maybe Docker is not only what you will need. You will need some kind of container orchestration. But again, it depends where you go, which direction. So if you're a developer, most likely you want to get managed container orchestration. So somebody is managing for you, and there are many offers already on the market. Or if you are ops guy, system admin guy, you probably know, you would like to know how to manage by yourself, because there are a lot of job opportunities for people who know how to deal with container orchestration platforms, and specifically with Docker and with others.
Okay, that's awesome. And so Rafael, since Ruslan says that it is important to learn Docker container, right? So is there any tips you can give, to, oh man, I miss here the name, to Hatana? Could you give some tips on how to learn Docker at all?
For sure. Hello, Hatana. Another very important point about Docker is that Docker is being used for more than 80% of the companies. So the market is totally like they are using Docker a lot. And one suggestion I can give you to learn Docker is to find your way to learn. Like there is really no rules. The important thing is to be consistent and to learn Docker consistently, because it's like if you never learned about containers, it's another paradigm. So like you can read the documentation, you can create your own project and containerize a Java application, for example, or Python or Node.js application. It's up to you, so that you can learn about containers a little bit. And it would be great as well if in the end of your learning, if you can do something useful. Because if we just learn something without doing something useful, you don't really solidify the knowledge. So it's great if you elaborate a plan so that you can study and you can play around with the technology, but it's crucial that you create something useful in the end. And if you are able to create this something useful in the end, for example, if you containerize a Java application and put in the Elastic, for example, that's a great way for you to solidify your Docker knowledge. So, and one thing that's very important that I have to emphasize is to be consistent, because if you just try one day to learn Docker, it won't be enough. It has to be constant and consistent. Don't fall in the trap thinking that you're gonna learn Docker quickly. So that's my suggestions, and hope it was helpful.
Correct.
Hey.
May I add something to this?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so very good point about that. So many companies are using Docker already, like, right? So it's like standard de facto, like for, like for containers today. And another good point to be consistent. And from my point of view, like I have opinion on this. You may learn Docker to a specific level, so to understand like how it works. But if you are a developer, at some level it will be enough. So like maybe like some time to time you need to refresh some good approaches. But if you are a developer, it will be enough for you to get to a specific level and then focus on like on maybe on artificial intelligence or like on making Java like faster. Like so, follow your passion. Like it doesn't mean like if you like Java, like and you have to switch to completely to Docker, like no, like but just knowing this basic things like towards a certain level will help you to do your job faster even with Java. Like so it just it's just necessary knowledge to be aligned with the trends. But if you don't follow like to sysadmin way, like job, like most likely you need to get to a specific level, and then automation tools will do everything for you, like so, and you can keep focusing on Java.
All right, that's awesome.
Yes, my 5 cents. Mm-hmm.
Okay, no problem. So there's some more questions about here. So there's some questions about Kubernetes. I think we're gonna leave this for a little later. I just want to go over here, especially because so first of all, there is a comment here that I want to make a point, right? Because Facebook user, we don't know who the name of the person is, but it's someone in Facebook right now. So it says it's interesting to choose containers in the cloud. It maintains scalability and high availability. So just so you know, we did have a specific class and discussion about high availability and scalability on Monday, right? So if you miss it, our conversation on Monday, you can come here, can register for cloudtechdays.com, and that will give you access for the for all the materials that we had before, right? And you can see the replays, and there's all kinds of discussion about scalability on Monday. We had a participation with Adam Bean discussing scalability. So that was awesome, right? So feel free to go there and rewatch the content on cloudtechdays.com, rest that you have to have access. And then Paolo Ruslan, Paolo is being really picky, so he really wants you to go. He's kind of debating you here, and I want to give him all the time that he has to discuss that. He says, I'm being picky, but I'm Docker certified, and a Docker container shares only the kernel of the host. Every other user space code is inside the container, right? So maybe something that you said made him think that you disagree with that, but maybe you do agree. I don't know. So
okay, so maybe we can say another way. Like, do you agree that containers are more efficient than virtual machines, or not? Like, so let's rephrase a little bit in this way. Like, so, and if you do, please emphasize why it is not. Why it is. If you do not agree, please emphasize why it is not.
All right. So while Paulo replies to this, right? Gerard says, Paulo, I agree with you. That's why almost any kind of application you need to start with an OS image, right? With Go and Rust, you can build from scratch. So basically, we got to give Paulo some time here. So hey, Evaldo saying hello. Good afternoon, Evaldo. So I can say this. I'm not sure what Paulo is gonna reply, but my opinion, Ruslan, is that yes, that containers are more efficient than virtual machines because they share more, right? Virtual machines, you kind of, I think that's why you explained, right? It's more the difference between containers and virtual machines, and I think Paolo is more specific on the container side here in his discussion.
Yeah, so containers are more efficient for two reasons: because they share resources, right? And second, like because they have less overhead for the operating system. Because really, like virtual machines have bigger overhead for operating system. Like, so you just waste valuable resources for things that really you don't need, like, because you don't care about your operating system. You want to run your application, right? Like, so like you don't worry about like operating system. Again, like you want to deploy your WAR file or your like PHP file. Like, so operating system is just environment where it's running. And with containers, it's more efficient.
So Paul agrees with you. He says that they're more efficient because they share contented resources with the host. And if you slim down the OS to the bare minimum, the saves are even more.
Yeah. So they are as much as efficient, almost as like bare metal, honestly. Like, so for example, performance overhead is about like 5%, which is great. So with virtual machines, it is higher. And sometimes you can configure even it will be faster than and more efficient than running just environmental.
Right. That's awesome. And now since you're talking about efficiency,
because let me add, because like some containers virtualization, they have like smart memory deduplication. Like you run like, for example, 10 Tomcats, like, and this technology like understand like where is the same memory is used across these containers, like, and they do deduplication. So you have only one object, but it's accessible across all containers. So, but it's too, like not for this specific topic. We can talk a little bit later, and if people are interested, we can share more.
No. So Paolo went exactly in this direction, right? That you mentioned here, right? He said if you build an image with a full Fedora distribution and you spin 10 copies of it, then the saves are less because your base image is not optimized. But now you're saying that there are some containers technologies that will even optimize some of that part.
Correct. Yes. So is there a smart? Take a look at Virtuoso, for example. They have like smart deduplication technologies.
All right. So in Virtuoso is more like a system container than an application container, right?
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Because they were working like on containers for 15 years. They were targeting traditional workloads, not the microservices. It's possible to use microservices Virtuoso, so you can build stateless and microservices stuff. However, like again, like they're targeting more like traditional and legacy workloads, like stateful workloads. You can easily migrate from virtual machines to these containers, and you can get benefits immediately, like from this.
That's awesome. So the one thing that I like about all these things here, especially about the discussion, is that when we mention containers, everyone thinks, oh yes, so Docker containers, right? So there's one thing called Docker containers, and I think that's great. There's one thing that Docker has done that is totally amazing, that Docker is standardized the way that you create containers, right? The way that you package a container, Docker standardized that, and I think that's awesome because now we can do all kinds of things. But you have to understand that one part of Docker is the virtualization, is the container itself, right? And that part can actually be implemented by different strategies. And I think that what Ruslan is kind of showing you is that you do have the Docker container, but you also have the virtuoso containers, and they implement things in a different way. And I think this is awesome for all of us, right? Because we developers, we can package the container in one way and then run that thing in top of different container technologies. And I think that's awesome.
Correct. So actually, there are other kind of containers like LXC. They are for a long time on the market as well. Like you look, which is great technology. Many companies are using this technology. So there is not only virtual system containers. There is like Kata containers, which is new kind of containers virtualization. And some others, so people are developing alternative solutions because they see this area from different angles. And I am so happy that we have more because, like it speeds up the whole evolution at the end. And they share knowledge between each other. For example, in the past, only Virtuoso had live migration for containers, like live migration for containers. You can migrate container like from one physical host to another one without downtime. It's possible. It's not possible with Docker by default. But because Virtuoso contributed this to open source, right? Like, and because like other people try to play around this technology, you can inject this technology into Docker and you can enjoy this live migration with Dockers as well. So, and this is super cool, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. So Paulo says here that Docker-based technology duplicates only the disk space occupied by the base image, but does not optimize the runtime. The tech Ruslan is mentioned goes further, right? So I agree. So so we're getting somewhere here. That's awesome. I love this discussion. So thanks a lot, Paulo. Hit us stronger, man. Hit us stronger because that's exactly what we want to do, right? We want to make this here in a way that everyone here can come out with some good information about this, right? And so wait, there's so many things here that I want to see. So Rafael, I think this question here is for you. So Hatana says, I agree with the usefulness. I hope there's no need to create a Docker container for the job interview though, right? Because I'm very excited about Java and it's so hard to focus on. I prepare project with front end, bootstrap, back end, all of the kind of things. Oh, you know what? Tatiana, thank you very much. So Tatiana is translating things for me, right? So it says her name is Natalie. It's so cool to have someone that actually speaks the language here of me. So hey, Natalie, now I know your name. I'm kind of bad Bruno here. All right. So Natalie is asking here, Rafael, and I think that's for you. I wonder if there is if there is enough for my interviews. Would appreciate your tips for interviews and so what kind of answer I could give. So that's Natalie, Rafael.
Okay, so her question is about how to what to focus on for interviews. Is that what I understand?
Yes, I think that's what I understood too. Yes, everything's it's all about Docker and Java and everything. So what you need to focus on for interviews? Yes,
I would say it depends on your level. So if you are just starting, is you, Natalie, just starting, or
so she says? So she says he is Natalia. So it's not even Natalia, it's Natalia. So that's even. So Natalia is a very close. It's very close name for us in Brazil, right? Brazil, there's lots of Natalias. Yes, good.
Exactly. Yeah. So Natalia, are you starting or are you an experienced developer already? Can you clarify this information, please?
Yeah, go ahead. Start answering whatever, and then she'll answer you at some point, Rafael.
Okay, so if you're just starting, Natalia, I would recommend you to focus on Java and JSP and focus on the fundamentals of starter. Okay, perfect. And the market won't require you to know a lot about Docker, but mostly about algorithms, about your code quality. They will require you to know how to create a simple project. Usually, like the market is very strong with Spring, for example. So if you create a small project with Spring, and if you use a front-end framework like Angular or React, I think that would be great. Usually they request you to create a small application, and then you send to them, and then you're going to be tested about that, and probably you're going to be talking about your code. They're going to question why you used some certain patterns. They will analyze your code quality, if you created good unit tests, for example. So I would focus more in this area, not so much in infrastructure. But it's also good if you like it would be a bonus in my perspective to Dockerize an application and use Docker. Like, considering that you are just starting, I think it's too much to ask. But it's, in my opinion, it's a nice to have. But soft skills is very important as well. Thanks, Paulo. So yeah, of course, like if you show that you are willing to learn, if you show that you are a good team player, if you show that you know how to communicate clearly, all of those things count. So it's not only about technology, but if we are talking only about technology here, I would focus more on Java and how to create a simple application.
All right, that's awesome. So Paulo, don't get me started with soft skills, right? You know, I could spend the rest of the day talking about soft skills. So what I'm gonna do is, since that's not the topic here today, we're gonna send to you, if you're registered for cloudtechdays.com, I'm gonna send you, especially for people that want to do interviews, things like this. I'm gonna send you some material about hard skills, soft skills, what they really are. It's not. By the way, Paul, let me tell you, it's not what you just mentioned right there. Let me tell you this is very important. Soft skills are skills that are malleable, that you can use in all kinds of different places. So software development is a soft skill, all right? Software development, so you can't forget soft skills, because software development, what you do is a soft skill. So with that, I'm gonna send that material to everyone that's registered on Cloud Tech Days later today, so you can have access to that, because that's not the topic here right now. Okay, so lots of cool things. And so Natalia says, thank you. Now I can see, right? I need to learn Cyrillic, so I can mention those names in the right way. All right, so more things. I mean, there's so many questions here. I think there's one more question here, Ruslan, that I think it's going to be on what we're talking about right now. And then I'm going to leave some of the other questions for later today. Where's that one that I saw here? Oh, man, I think I missed that. Anyway, all right. There's lots of other questions about Kubernetes and some other discussions there that we're going to try to get later on. But, let's... Oh, so Evaldo asks here, Ruslan, what's the difference in the use of DigitalOcean service, like, or more specialized service like OpenShift, Red Hat, Bluemix, Jelask? Is there a difference? I mean, there's so many providers today, Ruslan. So what is the difference between all of those providers? I mean, are they all the same thing? It's just in terms of cost, or they offer different stuff? What kind of things we should be looking for?
Look, it's hard to compare everyone with everyone, but if we say, for example, you want to compare DigitalOcean with like OpenShift, I heard these two words at least. DigitalOcean started from virtual machines, right? So they just give you like pure like VPS, and you go and do stuff inside yourself. Like, so you install operating system, you configure like security, you configure like clusters if you want. If you need production application, you configure availability, load balancing, and so on. So they started from just pure empty virtual machines. Later, they understood people are tired to do all this every time, because a new project, you have to repeat everything from scratch. Like, you want the stage environment, you have to repeat everything from scratch. Like, it's not very efficient. Like, and as I mentioned, people human efforts are most expensive stuff. They added more tools in their platform, like load balancing, right? Like storage and other things. And recently they even introduced it like application platform, which completely removes the need to worry about operating system anymore. So you don't think in terms of operating system, in terms of patching operating system, updating it, like, so you just think in terms of deploying your source code. So your source code is attached to, your environment in DigitalOcean is attached to your Git repository, and it just automatically pulls and updates all servers. Like, so you just push new updates into your Git repo. It means they're moving like from bottom level to a higher level. And we see this movement like from VPS to like infrastructure, or from infrastructure as a service to platform as a service, right? So today now is the era of platform as a service. And OpenShift is a platform as a service solution. But OpenShift, specifically OpenShift, in my opinion, of course, it's better to ask like OpenShift guys, but in my opinion, as you know, like as a guy from outside, like, so they design it for large scale projects, for enterprises, not for small guys, because like you need to have deep pockets, and second, like you need to know like how to manage this OpenShift technology, like, or you have to buy like managed OpenShift, all right, and it will cost you the extra monies, of course. So it's more like, and there are not many public cloud providers who offer multi-tenant OpenShift. It means like when they run like OpenShift and they run many customers in the same OpenShift cluster. So it's little bit different target customers, not little bit, it's completely different target customers of DigitalOcean. DigitalOcean is targeting mostly like small, medium-sized project. OpenShift is targeting more medium and large sized customers. In my opinion, like if you talk about Amazon, like they target everyone, like they have everything, but it's too complicated from my point of view. Like, so there are so many buttons, like you need to go certification, to understand like how to get the best stuff. Like, you need to go and track like all these resources. It's quite complicated, let's say. Like, so from my point of view, developers desire like, simpler solution. And there are other options, like for example, if you talk about Gelastic, what is the difference between all of them? Like, so first of all, we focus on simplicity because we understand like human efforts are the most expensive. Like, we don't want you to spend a lot of time inside our dashboard. Like, we don't want you to deal with containers, honestly. Like, so we tell you like that we use containers, like how it works, like, but we prepare like certified containers for you. You don't need to go like and build by yourself. Like, you don't need to configure like replications of these containers. Like, you don't need to think about state or stateless or stateful. You just choose what you want. Like, and we prepare everything for you. So simplicity is all about Gelastic. Like, second thing, fair pricing. Like, it's like pay per use. Like, no pay for the limits. Like, because it's not fair. Like, we must fight this issue. And it's more efficient. It solves like a resizing problem. It's the second point. And third one, which I like very much, like, because it's probably like the one of the most our key advantages. Gelastic is a network of independent distributed service providers around the world. So there are many Gelastic clusters around the world in different countries. If you are living in Brazil, you can find like a couple partners in Brazil who are offering Gelastic, and they're independent. If for some reason one of them, like, you don't like how they treat you, quality of services, or like speed of infrastructure, or like pricing, like, you can easily migrate to the same API, the same UI at another provider. And they must release you like a current provider, because you have the right to take your data and migrate to another provider. Like, or like if you're a customer from Europe, like, we have many providers in Europe, like, because almost every serious company, they want to keep data inside the country. And even today, like during these geopolitical issues, countries are, like almost fighting each other. Data privacy is very important, and we don't touch data. Like, we don't manage data. So data stays in countries that service providers are managing from, let's say. Like, so you can choose. You have freedom of choice, and service providers compete on pricing. So it brings down at the end cost for end customers. So this is what I like about our project.
That's awesome, Ruslan. That's really awesome. So let me tell you one thing here, Ruslan. There is a great question exactly about what you mentioned right there. Is Abir? Well, first of all, Kizabi says, I come here late, right? So I'm a little delay here. thanks already for the content, right? So that's awesome, Kazabi. So if you miss anything, guys, you know, you go to cloudtechdays.com, you're going to be able to watch you're going to be able to watch the replays, right? So that's awesome. Now, there's a great question here from Abir, and Jilton also agrees there's a great question. There is, you know, what about cloud interoperability between providers? Does that thing even exist, Ruslan? What do you think?
Oh, it's a very important question here, because look, like you started with one provider, you put a lot of stuff, like you build things, like, but later, like your service provider increased the price, like, or like they changed management, right? Like, and service performance goes down, like, or like new regulation came, right? Like to the specific country, like, and they said, like, no, like you cannot host data outside of our country, like bring the data back, like, you know, or your customer comes to you and say, like, please use specifically that service provider. Like, you need to have interoperability, and we are not there yet with majority of solutions. There are some solutions that help you, and I don't want to be too much promoted, like, you know, about what we do, but we do exactly what you ask, like interoperability, because like two reasons. Like, first of all, look, we are a software company. We don't manage data centers, like, and we want more service providers and more data centers to be available as a Gelastic partners. It means like all Gelastic partners is offering the same UI and the same API. They might have some difference between versions, but it's not as painful as you migrate like from completely one vendor to completely another vendor. So Gelastic network of partners provides this desired interoperability. So this is one point. And second point, as this is software, it can be installed on top of existing big cloud vendors like Amazon, Google, Azure, Oracle, or on top of private cloud like on-premise. And at the end, you will get same platform deployed across all the vendors, right? And you will get the same API, the same UI, at the end, like the same user experience. So you really can migrate like workload from one cloud to another cloud without putting too much effort. We have a button here, like actually in our dashboard. So you go here and we have like migration, right? And there are different regions. It's a demo cluster, let's say, right? Like, so it's our demo cluster. It's deployed across different vendors, like one on top of servers.com and another region on top of OVH. And I can migrate from one region to another one easily, like there is a button. And it is possible to do migration even without downtime. So if you configure properly, it's available for advanced project, let's say, like, you know, some projects needs like migration without downtime. It's possible to do, we see like we have this like live migration. So it's possible to migrate like the whole application from one cloud to another cloud without downtime. It sounds crazy, like, you know, like something from the future, but it's reality, it exists, it's possible, and more solutions will be able to offer this in the near future. I hope I clarified this question.
Okay, that's awesome. All right.
Interoperability exists today. It's not available by default, but it's possible to achieve.
All right, so there's a follow-up question too. First of all, Evaldo say thank you, Ruslan. So thanks a lot, Ruslan. Thanks Evaldo for being here with us. So Paulo asks a follow-up question to this, Ruslan, that he says, can this easy migration integration between providers be one of the good selling points of Kubernetes? Is that like do you think Kubernetes is a way to migrate things easily? Or you know, we talk a little bit about Kubernetes on the first class on Monday, and we're going to talk a little bit more on Friday. But what do you think in terms of Kubernetes, in terms of clouds migration integration?
So look, Kubernetes is one of the good advantages of Kubernetes, at least like promises of Kubernetes, is exactly this, like interoperability. So you write for one cloud provider and you can run at another one cloud provider. And what we see on the market, almost everyone today, like large and medium-sized cloud providers, they offer Kubernetes services. In the most cases, it's like managed Kubernetes services. So there is an expectation. If you write for one provider for Kubernetes that you're running at one provider, you can extract your data and run at another provider. I hope this is the reality. But unfortunately, it might be not like this, because simple hello world application, yes, it will work. But in reality, look, these managed services, they are offered in different way, because Kubernetes is like Lego, right? And different companies, they combine and build Kubernetes in different ways. Different ingress controllers, different network plugins, and different like UIs, different capabilities. So for example, with Elastic, we offer you access to master node, even like if you want, you know, like as other clouds, you don't get access to master node. So really want to get interoperability, you have to use very limited amount of features from Kubernetes, and then you will be able to migrate, or you will still have to do some adjustments, you know, when you migrate from one cloud to another. But again, like at least it's a good beginning, like, and I believe in the future it will be improved. There is another way to do it, like, so you can just get this Kubernetes and deploy into different clouds the same distribution of Kubernetes. So there are projects like this available on the market as well. I will not name them, but they are available. So yes, Kubernetes is the promise, is the one way to achieve interoperability. Like, and I hope during the time it will just become better and better. But if you need it now, and if you need it production, think about Elastic, because it's ready already, and it's production, and it's available across more than 17 data centers in more than 37 countries already.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, so you know, Ruslan, let me just say one thing here. I mess up here, and Rafael was supposed to leave. He had another meeting at 9 minutes ago, right? So Rafael's here with us. So Rafael, let me ask one thing. You know, we're talking a lot about cloud, about all of that, but you know, the way that you help other people to improve their skills is by creating all kinds of challenges, right? So you have Java challenge. Are you going to have cloud challenge at some point, right? How can you help other people here to improve their skills so they can go in the cloud faster?
Yeah, so regarding the Java challenges, they are pure Java code challenges, but certainly we can, it's possible to put the Java challenges in the cloud. For example, I can create a Lambda function. I can create a serverless function. I can create a microservice, something just small, which you can deploy in the cloud, and then I can invoke my endpoint in the cloud, and I can create the Java challenges in the cloud as well, and they will have the same output, the same, they're going to work just in the same way. So it's certainly possible I can do that. And I can deploy to the cloud. I can Dockerize the Java challenges. So there are many things that's possible to do, because I can just create a small application with the challenges.
Okay, that's awesome. So Rafael, I just put here the link for your book. And I'm also going to put the link to the book right here in the chat so everyone can get there. So can you talk a little bit more about what is your book about, and how people can get it for free?
Yes. So the Challenger Developer book is a book to help you to become a better software developer and to improve in your career and to get amazing jobs. So knowing a lot about technical stuff is not enough. So there are many strategies, many routines we can implement in our lives where we can be better as an engineer, be better as a person, be better professionally. There are many ways, many actions we can take to become better, and to work maybe abroad if it is your dream, or to create your own business. So there are many things that I shared. There are some strategies that you can apply very quickly, and you can improve as a software developer, and you can get better salaries. You can become better.
I agree. That's a good point, yeah.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, so everyone here, you go download Rafael's ebook right now. The link is on the chat, and you can also get the link right there on the screen. So thanks a lot, Rafael. It was awesome to have you here with us, man.
Thanks a lot. It was my pleasure.
Thank you for joining.
Thanks, Ruslan.
Thank you for joining. Thank you, Rafael. Have a good rest of the day. Yeah.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Okay. So Rafael, Java champion, and you should go check his book. It's an awesome book that helps you, think about challenge that you can apply to your knowledge. So you can get better. So Morvana is saying thanks, Rafael. So thanks a lot, Morvana. That's awesome. All right. Okay. So last question here, Ruslan. Then we can go a little bit more discuss. So actually, let me say, Rafael is gone, but let's say Morvan is saying thanks, Rafael, and then Jilton is saying thanks, Rafael, and then Max is saying thanks, Rafael. So everyone thanks, Rafael. I'm just gonna put his book here. 1 more minute. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, you can go there. So Ruslan, there's one more question here that we can go before you go back. Max is asking, if my application is containerized in a Docker image, then is it ready for the cloud environment, or do I need to do anything else?
Mostly yes. So but again, it depends in which specifically service you want to deploy it. Because there are some services that allow you to deploy simple container, like one container, and you may run it as a standalone, or you may scale it. And other services enables you to deploy directly into Kubernetes, right? Or like, for example, into Elastic. You need to think like how you store your state, like where it's stored, like it's database, like or what, like how you. But look, like it's pretty simple if you have containerized application server, right? So it's pretty easy to run it now in the cloud. So my answer is yes, it's ready, but you need to know where to deploy it. Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. So Paolo says, thanks, Ruslan. That was exactly my fear about Kubernetes. Vendor lock-in in some subtle way, right? Yes. All right.
Correct. Look, like they don't want you to go somewhere. Like it's not in their motivation. Like they want to stick you forever. Like, and they want to charge you for the limits. Like because they make more money. For buying more like expensive stuff for themselves. Like, look, the most rich guys, like who's the most rich guy here today, right? So they're doing cloud stuff. That's the reason. Like, I do believe it can be more fair, and like people can spend money on their own needs instead of spending on infrastructure. So infrastructure should become cheaper and cheaper during the time.
All right. Okay. So Ruslan, I know you have a few more things to show here, but I'm just going to ask a question here from Miguel. Miguel says, "Why don't I have this premium star in my Elastic environment? I think you have some special thing in your demo right there that we don't have access. I'll tell you this, Miguel, because you're not CEO of Elastic, right? So
what don't we have? Sorry, like I missed like which one button? Like, so can you please?
Yeah, he's saying a premium star. Maybe it's something that he saw in your presentation.
Like premium. Like, look, I understand. Like, yeah, because it's true. Like, because I am CEO, I have more access. But honestly, it's some kind of a joke because what happens here? Let me show you. This is a demo cluster. So it's not for end customers, it's for our team. We run our stuff here. We do like demonstrations. We bring potential customers here, and we give them to try. And that's the reason why we have own clusters, own regions. At this specific cluster, at this demo cluster, we use OVH and we use servers.com. And we just named it as a premium because it's a nice name, it's a nice icon. I know there is a premium infrastructure behind it. That's the reason. But look, we also use our providers. We have many of them around the world. We use for our own needs, for our own stuff. For example, our websites. are running on top of 2 providers in 2 different countries, and they're independent, and we have like replication. So we enjoy this interoperability stuff already, right? Like, so we have many of them. You can go and see. It just specifically for demo needs, I have a premium, nothing special, honestly. Sounds good?
Yeah, all right, sounds good. So Paul is saying, Miguel, you can ask Ruslan to hire you, so you're gonna have access too, right?
Correct. Yeah. If you come to our team, like, we will give you access.
Yeah.
Or
All
if you
right.
consider, like, to buy Elastic for private cloud, we will give you access to.
Yeah. Okay. So there's some other questions here. I'm gonna leave those questions to the end, right? There's a question about high availability. There's a question about Kubernetes. So Ruslan, what about you want to talk about a little bit about Java cost?
Right. So why I want to talk about Java cost? Like, as I mentioned,
before you go here, just one quick thing here. So Jared is asking, to find the link on YouTube, right? You can continue to watch on a TV. So this being streaming live to my channel on YouTube, to Ruslan channel on YouTube. I'm gonna put the link to my channel here in the chat. So if you guys want to see this directly on YouTube, you can, no problem. And though Miguel says, I will ask you to hire me. So Ruslan,
send us CV. Like, so we need to know, like, what is your experience, like what you like to do, like, where you're living. So please.
Right. So then the question is, how do you access Ruslan? That's a good question. How do I reach out to Ruslan? How do I access Ruslan or this Bruno guy, this Rafael guy? How do I reach to these people? So let me tell you this. You go here to cloudtechdays.com and you register there, because once you register, you're going to get an email from me. You're going to get an email from Ruslan. You're going to have our personal, well, actually not personal, because it sounds personal in business, right? You're going to have our own emails, right? It's not like the email from someone else. It's our email you're going to get there. So then you can reply to the email, ask questions, and we can have a conversation. But also, if you need anything from us, just let us know. And we're gonna that's why we're here this week, right? To help you increase your career as much as possible, right? So yes, so feel free to send us messages and get going with this. All right, Ruslan. So I'll let you go and focus again on Java performance, right? We're not reducing the Java cost, right? So how do we? Because that's a question we had here before, Ruslan. That is, and I think you're gonna talk a little bit more about this later on, but I think this is kind of segue here. Someone asked, if I'm using serverless, for example, if I'm using functions, is that going to help me reduce the cost even more? So I think that's one thing you're going to talk about in terms of Java, because lots of people say that if I'm running Java in the cloud, then I'm actually not getting as much reduce of cost because Java is big, a thing like this. So I think you're going to mention this right now. So go ahead.
Correct. Yeah. Thank you, Bruno. So definitely, why I want to talk about Java specifically today. Look, we love all languages. We have no religion about languages. But specifically about Java, last time we had a question, and I want to to emphasize what happened with Java during the recent days, like during the recent time, and how it was improved. So in the past, look, guys, we had very big problem with Java. It's greedy. It consumes a lot of memory, and it just does not return it back. Unfortunately, it was like this many years in a row, because people built Java for bare metals, for virtual machines, in these environments, they were not elastic. And nobody care, if Java gets everything, and stays like this forever, because you already paid for these resources and nothing to worry about. Moreover, people deployed multiple applications inside one Java virtual machine. It means these resources were shared inside virtual machine. So somehow it was efficient in that way. But it's not the case anymore, because cloud becomes more elastic. And people deploy per one application multiple Java virtual machines. So now it's more expensive even. And Java, if it's does not return memory back, it's not efficient. And as you can see, a good example here we have like heap limit, which is red, and we have like orange line, which is reserved heap. So JVM said like, I will use this RAM, give me this RAM. So it's asked this RAM from operating system. And blue line, it's real object, so it's real heap used memory. So as you can see, like Java was growing till specific, let's say, level, and then it goes down. So in reality, it doesn't consume anything, like object doesn't consume anything, but Java keeps using memory. So it's big waste. For example, in this example, it's 16 gigabyte of RAM. Why we should do this? Like why we have this problem? And we started to think about this about 8 years ago, and maybe even before. And we figure out like, okay, there is a big problem with Java, and we found a solution. And what we did, we found a solution to make it very elastic. So it just consumes as much as it needs, no more. So you can see now, like this orange line goes very close to the blue line. So it's very close to what it uses. So it doesn't get more than it needs. Unfortunately, yes, we had this problem many years, like, and nobody was able to solve it. But it's done, it's solved. So Java is elastic now. And, like it's efficient. And how it was done? We created a specific patch through JEP, which is called, which has number like 346. There is a link in this presentation. So if you register it for Cloud Tech Days, you will get this presentation. You will be able to find exact details how it works. There are specific parameters that regulate this elasticity. So if you don't enable these parameters, your Java will still be like this. Inefficient and greedy on memory. If you enable these parameters, you will get very good efficiency. So I must do some disclaimer. You may pay some performance price. So if you run very, very, like critical mission system that very sensitive to performance, don't do it. Like, keep RAM as much as you can. But if you not so critical in terms of performance, you can, get better efficiency and enjoy it by saving more memory. And actually, there is additional parameter that prevents returning memory back if CPU load is high. So JVM just keeps the RAM, like it doesn't return it back. So you can still have good performance and good efficiency at the same time. So please go to this link and read how it works. We have some series of publications. I have actually dedicated presentation only about this. It's easy to find, like by printing state of Java elasticity, and you will be able to find this presentation. But please keep in mind, it's available only from Java 12. We are trying to bring it back to Java 11. There's some resistance in the community because people want to have like stable Java 11, and there is some concerns about this. But even it's stable, like it goes for some specific process. So now it's available from Java 12, and I hope it will be available for early version soon. And community recognizes this achievement because it's really, 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 really big and cool stuff that saves a lot of resources. So we won like Duke Choice Award, which is a community award. And I'm super happy about this and appreciate that community recognized our efforts. We spent a lot of efforts behind it. And just in case, if you want to enjoy this elasticity for earlier versions than Java 12, there is a workaround which we actually used for before it was available for in default open source OpenJDK solution. So if you call garbage collector explicitly, you will be able to bring down the memory. Please pay attention. Like, so when you call for garbage collection cycle, you will have performance degradation. But if you call it in a specific time, like when during the night, for example, right, like, or when there is no load, it's fine. Like, so it's fine because you can save memory when load is not there. And there is a specific link to our agent. It can be even automated. So you just install the agent, and we attach the agent, and the agent will call this full garbage collection cycle at the time when it's possible to release specific RAM, because it's smart. It checks if is there anything we can release, like if there is something like so, then it calls full garbage collection cycle. And we will have something like this. So it will go up and then call full garbage collection cycle and goes down. While with Java 12, like it works automatically, you don't need to call any full garbage collection cycle, which is super cool. And just to give you an example, why it's important, there is example of Jenkins, which is running on top of Java 11, I believe, yes. And so left side, it's running with our agent, which is calling this garbage collection cycle, and right side without agent. As you can see, we have like Jenkins. It starts when it starts. It already consumes about 1 GB of RAM, and then I do just simple action like sign in inside. So I print my credentials and I go inside. And what happens? Like Jenkins gets RAM, like so it consumes more RAM. Like it's growing up till let's say like 3 something gigabyte. So like plus 2 more gigabytes only for sign-in option. I'm not talking even like extra builds, like extra task inside Jenkins. And what happens during the time our agents realize, okay, like there is memory which is not needed anymore, and I can release. Like actually, why Jenkins is using this? Because probably it initialize some object inside for after you sign in. So our agents realize there is memory we can release, calls this memory, and release this memory back, and it goes down. Like so, it becomes efficient. If you remove this agent, right, Jenkins will consume the RAM and it will stay forever. So you will overpay and it will be overused. Yes, Java was working like this before we introduced this patch, before we introduced our improvements. And likely, again, it's good to know it's already solved. So any questions so far here? Because I'm going to jump to a little bit another topic. Like so, any questions about Java elasticity, please feel free to ask me now.
So there are some questions here, Ruslan.
Yes, please.
So Paulo says my applications are based on Kuba framework, and he runs on Java 8 and 11, right? You said before the backporting the patch is not hard. Hope someone would do it.
You can go again. You can go. It's pretty easy agent. So you can go to GitHub. It's open source. Actually, it's available here. Yeah. So you can install or attach. Actually, what do you need to get for your specific application? You just need to print this line to command line, right? Like you need Java agent, then specify Elastic GC agent jar, and specify period when you want to call, like every 5 minutes, like, or let's say every hour, like, or every like 8 hours, like, because maybe you want to call like one per like day, like, or like 3 times per day, release this memory to clean unused memory. So you will be able to download this agent from library here, and attach to your application, and it's done. So it will be efficient.
So basically, you're saying that for Java 11, you can attach the agents. For Java 12, you don't need to, right? So that's basically what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. For Java 12 and higher, you just can specify these parameters, and they will regulate behavior of Java elasticity.
Okay. Very
Please
cool.
pay attention. It's working only with G1 garbage collector. Like so, but other garbage collectors, look for other garbage collector after we released this stuff and to open source. Like they implement the same. Like so, ZGC have similar implementation for elasticity. Shenandoah actually is good one. Is elastic as well, and actually it was backported to Java 11, so you can enjoy elasticity with Shenandoah. If you use specific right builds, because it's not available by default for default OpenJDK. So if you use builds of Red Hat, I believe, you can enjoy this elasticity. Also, what other garbage collectors? Commercial one from other systems is can be used for elasticity as well. So yeah, but again, like the most modern garbage collectors, they are elastic by default now, and it's super good news for community.
All right, that's cool. So let me just tell everyone here, I had to reload my page a few minutes ago because I had my computer froze here. So if you have a question, that we didn't ask yet. I may have missed your question because I lost the chat here. So I'm kind of, so if you have any questions, that we haven't answered yet, please feel free to resubmit the question so I can get that, right? And so there's a question from Jilton here that Tatiana already answered. And yes, if you want to see the slides of this presentation or the recordings of all the conversations that we have here, please go register cloudtechdays.com, because if you're there, we're going to send you an email with the slides and with the recordings once we finish here. So then you're going to have access to that. Okay. All right. But let me just tell you this. Once we finish here, the same link that you're watching right now, on cloudtechdays.com, you can come back and we're going to leave the replay and the slides at the same link, right? So you can come back here and then you're going to have access to it. All right. Okay. So,
so Bruno, we lost all questions about Kubernetes, so PT. Guys, please answer again, these questions.
Yeah, send the question again from about Kubernetes, right? So there is one question I can ask you here, Ruslan. There is from Miguel, right? Because that's one I had written down separately here because Miguel asked this a couple of times and we didn't get to it yet. And he's asking, does Gelastic have any high availability options like availability zones from Amazon or Azure? I mean, do you guys do high availability? Do you do multi-cloud high availability? Can you run things on multiple vendors? How do you do these things?
Okay, look, availability can be done on multiple levels, on the infrastructure level and on application level. So on infrastructure level, we can configure software-defined storage for you. When we connect bare metals or virtual machines in one cluster, and if one host node fails, all containers that are running on this host node will be automatically restarted on another host node. So it's some kind of availability. You will get still some small downtime because there is some time for restarting your containers, rescheduling on another host nodes, but it reduces significantly efforts, human efforts. You don't need to do emergency recreation, from backups and so on. So this is one kind of availability on infrastructure level. But the best thing is to do on application level. It means you need to create 2 containers at least for getting availability and showing your dashboard. We actually had this conversation last session. Yeah, but look,
there's one thing, I want Ruslan's gonna give a little bit information here today, because there is one important thing is that on Friday we're gonna get back to this particular topic and subject, right? Because the whole idea is that I understand when you start talking about all this kind of things, Miguel, and we want to answer this here, right? So I'll let Ruslan finish here. But what we want, Miguel, is that how we do this, and it's so complex, those things today, right? I mean, you have so many things going on in the cloud, so many features. You're asking, availability zones and these kind of things from other providers. And I understand that a cloud has a lot of complexity those days. There's a lot of things going on. So what we want to do is we want to discuss how we can do all those things in an easy way. And so we're going to go deeper at this on Friday, Miguel. And so I'm glad you're going to be here Friday, Miguel. But I just going to let Ruslan talk a little bit more, and then we're going to save some of that for Friday. All right?
Correct. So yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, we're already here for 2 hours, right? And we're gonna be here until you guys have questions. But just gonna make sure that I just want to make sure that you all of you know that Friday gonna be back here to go deeper at that subject, so we don't stay here for the rest of the day.
Yeah. So just a little bit. Look, you can build availability for your application, right, on every level, like the load balancer, Tomcat, databases, right, And when you create 4 containers, all these containers will be automatically distributed across 4 host nodes. So we do anti-affinity by default, right? And we have advanced clustering here, for Galera, for example, right? And so on. So you can build availability on application level. Moreover, we do have ability for out of the box. We have clusters here. right? And I like Kubernetes. Kubernetes cluster I like as well. Like we have Kubernetes here, right? But also we have like WordPress cluster, which is super cool solution, and it's highly available. So we install by default like 2 load balancers, 2 or 3 like application servers. Like we install Galera cluster, we install like software, storage cluster like based on cluster.fs, and we install object storage as well in cluster mode, and some other things like so. But it's highly available. However, like it's highly available in terms of one data center. So if one physical node fails in one data center, you will have availability. But if the whole data center goes down, it's a problem. But still, again, like you have solution, because as you can see, we have like multiple data centers, right, in one cluster. Many providers offer like 2 or more data centers, and you can create one environment in one data center and another environment in another data center and link them together, like so, synchronize and do availability across data center. So if even whole data center goes down, you still survive, you still have availability. And for, let's say, like for specific applications like WordPress, we built very cool and advanced solution, like multi-regional WordPress cluster. So it's not only highly available inside one data center, but we deploy on top of multiple data centers, and actually like 3 of them, for example, right? And we interconnect all this cluster, like, and it becomes like geo-replicated, clustered solution. So yes, Elastic provides several layers of availability for advanced projects, and we have large customers who just like enjoy and they spend very little efforts to achieve the availability. But more we will talk on Friday.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, so Ruslan, there's a Paulo is asking. I've seen the code for Coreto JDK just now, right? It has Shenandoah support in 11. Never tried it before.
Oh, really?
So should they try it?
Of course. Like so, go like state of Java LSPCT, right? Sorry, yeah. And yeah, like so there are like slides. You can see like even videos I explain, and there is a specific slide about Shenandoah. Oh, let me find it. Yeah. So OpenG9 actually serial GC. Yeah. And
why Ruslan is showing this? Just so you know, I'll make sure that we're gonna get the link to this presentation that he's just showing right there to you over email later today.
Yeah, correct. So you need to enable specific heuristic, like which is called compact. So, but go to Shenandoah webpage and discover like what kind of options you have, because you can tweak and tune behavior of this elasticity.
Okay, and all right. So yeah, Miguel is saying that. Miguel is saying that it looks like WordPress, right? Yeah. So basically, Jelasky has a high availability WordPress, and Ruslan went on this one. But yes, you can do high availability with all kinds of applications. So let's go more of this on Friday then. Awesome.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And all right. So anything else you wanna show there, Ruslan? Because we're getting to the end here before everyone has to jump ship, but.
So, like, should I go with additional slides, or do you are tired, guys? Let me know.
Well, I think you can talk a little bit more, but Paolo says the WordPress cluster is rocks, right? I can suggest to some customers that are having issues right now. So let me tell you this, Paolo. Yes, right? You do this. If you have customers that are running WordPress today, definitely go suggest that to them. I run the WordPress cluster, and it's totally awesome, man. It's just like one click and you have everything done for you. It's like awesome. This is very
Look, it's super cool solution. Like we did testing by third party, so independent reviewers. They test different solutions, and we participated in competition, let's say, and from the first participation, first year, we got to the top tier scalability. So you can see, like, go here and see comparison of different solutions, like, right, and you can see the cost and how it works and like, different performance analysis. And it was done like a year ago. Today it's even more advanced solution. Like, so you can see like top tier WordPress performance, like enterprise, and we have like classic logo here. These guys are independent, like, so it was tested by independent company. We are super proud, like, and we have very large customers who are super excited and super happy with our solution, because before they had like downtimes every time, like headache, nerves, a lot of nerves and pain, and lost money, lost customer. But today they're happy, and yeah, we have like specific partners. Actually, when you go to Jelastic, you need to pay attention on a specific checkbox here. We have partners with like WordPress performance. It means like we certified these partners for performance. More and more partners are joining this, but yeah, there is a very good number of partners. There is one in Brazil, one in UK and Cyprus, one in Switzerland, UK, again, like Canada, United States, and Singapore, like, and others, like, so India, Germany. So press this button, press the checkbox, and you will enjoy very high performance WordPress for a very cost-efficient solution. Yeah, because why it's cost-efficient? Because we apply this pay-per-use model by default. Like, you will not pay for the limits of your cluster. Like, no, like only for what your cluster use. Like, so if you have bigger traffic, you will pay a little bit more. Like, so if you have small traffic, if it's idling, you will pay less. And it supports multi-sites, so you can upload like a lot of domains inside one cluster. Like, so it's very efficient, it's stable. So guys, I can talk a lot about this, but let's leave it for next session. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So all right. So well, there's a specific question here about Big Blue Button. Do you plan to include Big Blue Button in your marketplace? Big Blue Button is that, if I'm not mistaken, is that video conferencing solution.
I think one of the partners offered this already. Yeah, so somebody offered it. Yeah. Let me see. Big Blue Button. Mir hosting. So if you go to this website, you will be able to get this conferencing tool. So it's available already. It's not available in Jelastic Marketplace by default, but some partners package this, and it's available. So you can go and get it.
All right, cool. That was fast, huh, Miguel? That's really fast, right? Okay, good. So how about it's available right now? Not in the marketplace, but some hosts provide. That's the cool thing, right, Ruslan? That's one of the interesting things for me in terms of Jelastic is that you work together with lots of different partners. And so, although there might be a little bit harder for people to understand that, different partners offer different things, but in the way, in a way, it's good because then we can choose. So I saw that Emir hosting, but I'm more interested in your marketplace, right? So, he's looking for this in the marketplace, Ruslan. But
look, more demand we have, like more customers are coming to us and say, like, guys, we want this, like, so we will have more reasons, like, but our goal initially, like, to focus on core platform, like on the most demanding solutions, like, and we give it to service providers, and then service provider can adjust according to their demands to their users, because they offer in to different markets, they're targeting different customers. So like more customers come to us and say, like, guys, please give us a Blue Button solution. Like,
let me say one thing, Miguel, because I know this because I've done it. My solution is not available on the Tools Cloud, only on Jelastic Marketplace, but we do have the document. The JSON that starts the environment, right? So we can just import that anywhere, right? So so that's one thing that it's very, very easy for you to do, to create your own packaging and then just kind of load this in any Jelastic provider. So that's what we do. We don't have our solution in the marketplace, but we can go to any Jelastic provider and just click one button and have the whole thing running in NGLS provider. So that's easy to do, Miguel. If you want to go ahead and do this, that's an awesome thing to have. All right. Okay. So Ruslan, last things that you want to talk about so we can finish this here, or maybe you're just going to keep here answering questions. What do you prefer?
Let me, walk through the presentation because there are two important things to know.
Go ahead.
For saving money, like so.
But finish this because all of us, we all want to save money, right? So the more tips you have to save money, that's what we all want. All right.
Exactly. Look, guys, if we you see there is some kind of illustration. We have Monday until Sunday, right? And we have working hours. So we work only a specific period of time. We work from 8 till I don't know 7. Different people work for different amount of time, but usually 8 hours per day, right? So, and if you run your development environment or staging environment, most likely you don't need it during the night, if you don't run automation tests during the night, right? If you run it, you pay money for it. If you stop it, you don't pay. And you can see it's much more in idle stage, during the nights than during the uptime time. So you can save a lot of efforts and resources by just applying specific scheduling. And there is a specific solution in Elastic in Marketplace. I show you. In add-on place, it's called Environment Start Stop Scheduler. So what you do, you say, okay, please stop environment a specific of time during these days, right? I will uncheck Sunday and Saturday, and because I will not wake up during Sunday and Saturday, it will just stay down, and that's it. And I choose my environment, right? Oops, and I want to just install it, and it will bring down my environment automatically, and it will wake up before I go to the work. So, for example, if you go to work at 8 a.m., you set please wake up at 7:50, right? Or 7:55. So 5 minutes before you go to your working place, it's up and running and ready for you. And 5 minutes after you go home, it goes down. So it will save you a lot of money, extra saving, right? It's super good. Actually, there is the illustration how it works here. And for service providers, or for private customers, we have extra super cool feature, which is called hibernation of inactive containers. Imagine a situation you have a cluster with many nodes, with many containers, with many users inside, right? Big organization, and users, developers, they want to play with some new technologies or dev environments. And they create these dev environments, but what happens usually, they become distracted by other tasks, right? Or they go home during the weekends and they don't do nothing with the development and test environments, but they forgot to press button, or they did not install this stop-start environment add-on. We have specific solution for saving resources and for doing automatically this job, which is called hibernation. So we control, we understand if environment is getting requests, we keep it live. If it's not getting requests during the configurable period of time, so you can configure during 1 hour, or 30 minutes, or let's say 3 hours, we automatically shut down this environment. And then when the first request is coming, we automatically wakes this up. This is how it works. So hibernation, it saves a lot of efforts. You don't need to go and count how many environments are used by developers, what exactly is in use, what is not, and you don't need to do this accounting. It saves a lot of human efforts at the end, and your cluster become more efficient. You can put more workloads on the same, and you can save money at the end. So this is how it works. Extra stuff look, as I mentioned, reserving some resources can save you extra money. We have the solution too. So if you use only dynamic cloudlets, cloudlet is a unit inside Elastic resource unit, which is equal 128 megabytes and 400 megahertz of CPU. But if you use dynamic cloudlets, they are a little bit more expensive than reserved cloudlets. So reserved cloudlets, they have some discount. Why is discount? Because like we know in advance like how much resources we need for specific cluster. We need less automation to distribute the load inside. And what happens? Reserved cloudlets, so you can estimate like, okay, how much resources I consume at a flat rate, and what is the amount is fixed. Like, so you run your application and you go to billing history and our statistic, and you see, you go statistic. I mean, you go here. I go, for example, here. Databases, right? And I see, okay, like I use like roughly like 2.5 gigabytes, like as a flat. But when load will come, like load will go up, like, but I can, like get some discount for this 2.6. So I specify, I go here and I specify for database, like, let's say like reserved cloudless, right? Like 2.5, like as reserved, and I will get extra discount. So I apply and that's it. It will be automatically applied for all containers, and you will enjoy extra discount. In addition, as a smart cloud, we have like tiered discounts. So more you consume, less base price it goes. Like as you can see, there are like many tiers. So you don't need to worry about, okay, like I consume more now, like should I go and negotiate my discount? Like, look, like there's very good discounts, like for big amount of usage, like even like 50% automatically. Like, so it's done automatically. We think about you in advance. Like, of course, discount depends on service provider and the region. So you can check inside the dashboard what discounts they provide for volume. But more you consume, more containers you create, like cheaper it gets for you at the end. So you are motivated to, to stay on the same service provider, not to think about migration. That was in short, I believe, like, yeah, how to estimate the cost. We have nice panels here when you create an environment, right? You can go just hover here on the from tool, and you see.
While you're showing how to estimate cost, I'm just going to say that Miguel says that I use the start and stop add-on in all my test and development environments, and even some production, right? Super great. So that's great.
Yeah. Actually, today we released new version. It's more like human readable, let's say. Like, so in the past we had like the need to define specifically like cron, but now you can choose like day and time, like so in human readable format. Good. So also what we have here, like I will skip it. Different cloudless, so you can see actually pay on cloudless, because like green means like everything is fine, you are using very little, like yellow it means you are somewhere in the middle, like, and red it means like usage is coming close to the limits. So you maybe need to increase the limits or reconsider configurations of your cluster. So statistic of consumption, there is a button to check the statistic. I already showed this one. And load alerts triggers, actually, yes, this is the point. By default, we set up load alerts. If your application starts consuming a lot, let's go here. Yeah, we have like load alerts. We set up for every container by default, like for CPU more than 70, for RAM more than 80, like for disk more than 90. So you will get notifications. So you will be notified if something is going, like if load is growing, something going wrong maybe, like, or you just got popularity and your application consume more RAM. You will get this. Notifications. You can adjust this, making lower, like for example, right? Like, so for example, you want to set like high limits just in case like load is coming, but you get alert when load is about 50%, for example, right? So you can think more in advance. And the last point is about billing history. So you can go and see like which container, every container, how much it costs, like what kind of resources it consumes. So this is in short, and maybe the last one that we will talk more about next time is human efforts. Like, look guys, like the most demanding tech roles today is consultants for Azure and Amazon, because there are a lot of workloads on top of these clouds, but it's very hard for people to do this by themselves. So they're looking for consultants. Right, it's very demanding. Like, so knowing the cloud, like knowing to how optimize the cloud, like can make you very valuable for your company, and you will be always in demand. So please learn about this, improve your skills, and join our next session to understand how you can achieve the same job, the same result with less effort. So next session we will talk about simplicity, like how to simplify your management of a cloud environments. And we will have great guests who will explain how they did it based on their own experience, so real end customers of Gelastic. I finished it, Bruno. So if you have questions, let's answer them. Yeah, and
all right, that's that's a lot of cool ideas on how you can save money with this whole thing. Jilton says thanks for the great content, right? So that's awesome. All right. So if there's any more questions here, I think we've gone way above and beyond the time. So I thank all of you here for being here with us. And if you have any more questions, we would be happy to answer everything that you want. But one thing that I want to make sure is that that you get access to all of this material, right? So if you are watching this and you're not if you're watching this, you're not registered for Cloud Tech Days, so please go to cloudtechdays.com, just on this link right here, and that will get you to really have access to all of this material. So basically what we're going to do is that you're going to have access to replace, you're going to have access to the slides of everything. Also, lots of things that Ruslan's showing us, presentations and websites and links, all of these, we're going to put all of these together available for you. So for us to be able to send all this to you, please come here to cloudtechdays.com. We also had Rafael Del Nero's book, right? So that you're going to get for free. So we also going to send you an email with that information. So if you're not registered, if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, without being part of Cloud Tech Days, I suggest you to come here right now, cloudtechdays.com. 100% free. It's just so we can send you this material so you can have the best results out of all of these. Okay. So so next month on next Friday, right? So we're gonna have tomorrow. We're gonna have a short discussion about career at Cloud Tech Days. At this time, it's not scheduled on the website. We're just gonna have a short one. If you have any questions about career or any question that you want to ask, we're gonna have tomorrow a very quick one. Just about half an hour or so, just to answer whatever questions you might have. So we're gonna stream at the Facebook group and at YouTube again at the same time as it was today. So please join us tomorrow if you can. But on Friday, we're gonna have some awesome content. We talk a little bit about here already, but we're gonna have an awesome content about simplicity. And the reason why we're gonna talk about simplicity, it's very, very simple. Ruslan mentioned this a couple of times here today, that the biggest cost you have, I mean, we're talking about cost and efficiency here today, but the biggest cost you have, it's not the infrastructure. It's not the cloud. I mean, this is really, guys, this is cheap compared to the cost of you, right? Your time, your efforts, you having to do all those things. This is what costs a lot of money, a lot of result. So basically what we're going to do on Friday is show you how you can use the cloud in a way that you don't have to do anything, that things can be automated, things can be simple. You don't have to be researching and learning all this craziness just to run infrastructure. You can leave the infrastructure problems for the vendors, right? And then you can focus on bringing value to your company, to your customers, and things like this. So that's why we're going to talk about simplicity on Friday, right? So join us Friday. So come here right now and join cloudtechdays.com. That is the best way for you to do this, right, Ruslan?
Yeah, exactly. So guys, think about this in the following way, like what is the most valuable in the life? People say like health, right? Yes, it's true. Like health, one of the most valuable things. Like, but even health, you can, if you got sick, you can recover your health. But with time, it's impossible. So if you lost time, like you cannot recover it. You cannot bring it back. And your time is most valuable. Actually, companies are buying your time, and you spend your time for building the products, for building the services, so you sell your time. And if your time is cheap, like if you try to do stuff manually, and you appreciate it, I mean, like you appreciate infrastructure more than your time, maybe you need to invest in your knowledge first of all, like because like then your time will cost more. Like, but in reality, look, like lifetime is the most expensive stuff in the world. So it's even like no gold, no diamonds can replace it. Like nothing. So time is the most important. And important to do stuff you like. So because otherwise, like you spend your time on things you don't like, and you get very little money. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, that's right. So let me just tell you one thing here that has nothing to do with anything we're doing here right now. We actually got more than 100 messages on the chat. We got a congratulations. A congratulations here from the stream provider saying, congratulations, you've got 100 messages today on the chat. So that's awesome. Thanks everyone for your great participation right here. I think that's awesome. So Ruslan, there's a couple of questions here that you might just kind of hint to it, and we can answer some more on the on Friday. But Paolo is asking, great overview. How about integrating customer performance metrics or even logging in the dashboard, right? It'd be cool to have a central place for DevOps operation. The dashboard allows people to integrate more stuff into it, or is there a place for logging and metrics in the dashboard already?
So if you want to integrate your custom metrics and monitoring, probably, right? So it's better to get the tools that do this in a better way, and like Zabbix or Prometheus with Grafana, or some others, like Nagios, probably some services like New Relic or other performance analysis services. So Elastic is focusing mostly on provisioning of containers for you, like doing runtime, like doing availability, like all this infrastructure related stuff. Specifically to application, at least at this moment, like we prefer to offload this work to people who do it like better than me, because they focus on this stuff like for a long time. Like it's not easy to do. Like maybe in the future, like we will bring a little bit more in this direction, but for today, like our focus, mostly to make it as smooth as possible your experience related to infrastructure stuff, like how you configure, like how you manage this stuff, like not related to specifically to performance optimization.
All right, cool. So Miguel has one here that may be a little bit off topic, but I think since we're so long here, let's go ahead and answer the off topic ones here. So they say they have many clients, and some of them need access to the servers, right? So if you give them access by default SSH, they can see all other environments, and we don't want that. So we give them a public IP. Is there any other way of doing this?
Correct. So, but depending on your service provider in Elastic, I guess you are an Elastic customer. So we have like feature which is called environment groups. Yeah, you see, like, so I can create environment group, and I can create new one environment group, and my new environment group. And actually we have feature which is
I'm not sure if you're showing anything, but you stop sharing.
Sorry guys. Yeah, I'm not showing anything here. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Okay, so let me share my screen.
All right.
Cool. You see now, yeah?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I go to the settings and like firewalls, and there is like isolated environment groups. So you can put environments into isolated groups. And how it works actually, let me check it. Edit. Yeah, so you can make this group isolated. It means nobody will be, you see, like it has a little bit different icon comparing to others. So it's like protected. So this environment now is my isolated group, and you will not be able to see from this environment other environments, or like from other environments this environment. So they are just not accessible anymore. Yeah, that's how it works. It's possible to do, as I mentioned, is you go settings, like firewalls, and you will find this isolated environments, or you create an environment group, and then you do like edit, and just check this button like network isolation on. So, or like you create, actually you need to do new environment, create new, so there is a button. So it works like on top level environment groups. And you can put different customers into different environment groups and enjoy network isolation. So, but please note, not every provider enabled this feature by default. So you need to maybe, if it's absent, just go to a service provider and ask for this functionality. But for private cloud, of course, it's available.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, so let us. I think there's. So Paulo says in practice you have some APIs, endpoints that we can call from inside our apps. I think that he's talking about the automation and this kind of things that we're going to talk about. So let's talk more about this, Paulo, on Friday, because then we can talk about simplicity and we can talk about maybe that's going to be one thing that we can talk about, GLask APIs. But yes, there are lots of APIs that yes, indeed you can call from inside your apps. Yes.
Correct. So Elastic is API first based. So we use this approach, like, so everything you have UI you have in API, in even more. Like, so we will talk more about this later.
There's one cool thing, Paulo, that I was talking to GLask provider the other day, and for me it was like pretty interesting that they actually decided to create their own dashboard, right? So they provide to their customers their own dashboard, and not even GLask's standard dashboard, because everything in GLask is an API. So they basically create their own application that connects to all the APIs in GLask and do everything, right? So yes, there are a lot of APIs, and we can talk about this next Friday. All right. Okay, man. That's a lot of awesome questions. Thanks everyone for all the great questions and all the great conversation. If you need if there's anything that we didn't answer that we talked about here that we did not answer, don't worry. Paulo says, I must say I'm impressed, right? And it's hard to impress me. I think you may have a new GLask fan here. That's good, Paulo. That's awesome right there, right? So thanks, man. That's awesome. So let's talk more about this if anything that you want. But hopefully all the discussion we had here, even if you're not interested in GLask itself, we try to do a lot of discussion about cloud in general, because we want you to understand that cloud is the way to go, no matter where situation you are right now, no matter if you have microservices or monolithics, no matter if your customer, if your company is still using old technology or they're bleeding edge, it doesn't matter, right? Cloud is the way to the future, because that's the way the computer industry is going to go, right? And I mentioned this, it's not just because it's a fancy hype thing. It's just because Moore's law is really coming to an end, right? So there's no way out. Well, we're gonna need to go to multiple servers, no matter what we want. That's why, think about it. That's why you get Googles and Facebooks and all these big companies. They have this huge data center. Why do we have these huge data centers? Because Moore's law is getting to the end, right? There's no way out. So what we want is you to understand that, and the more we can help you improve your abilities and improve your cloud skills, the better it's going to be for you and for your company. All right. So Ruslan, any last message here so we can end? So Tatiana is actually sending a virtual hug for you, Paulo. Right, Tatiana is there, and she's the one behind the scenes here making this whole thing work, right? So
correct. Yeah, thank you, Tatiana, for helping, and thank you everyone for joining this talk. I hope you learned new stuff, and don't stop on it. So please go and read more about cost savings, what other people do, like what's their advice, and actually, please help me, because I will be able to help you after. So help me to help you. Go to your service provider and ask about pay-per-use pricing model. Ask why they oversell you cloud infrastructure. So demand fair pricing. Demand cost saving. You deserve it. So you can save money and spend this money on your families, on vacations, as we mentioned, or like reinvest in your project, like, and make your customers more happy. Like, so that's what we need to do.
Awesome. Alexei saying excellent. Is liking. Okay. So thanks everyone. Thanks a lot, Ruslan. And I totally agree with Ruslan in here. There's so many more interesting things to do in life than spending money or we don't need to spend, right? So go talk with your cloud provider, whatever that is, and tell them that you want fair pricing. I think that's important for everyone. So Miguel saying great session, great. Thanks, Ruslan. Thanks, Bruno, and thanks, Paulo. Right, Paulo has such an awesome questions during the whole day. Thanks a lot, Paulo. Keep pressing us so we can give you all the information you need. Thanks, everyone. And Jilton says amazing. So thanks, everyone. Right. So, oh, by the way, look, let's continue the discussion on the Facebook group. Right. So my personal Facebook is there. Ruslan personal Facebook is there. So keep asking us. Keep pressing. Thanks, guys. You rocks. So thanks a lot, Paulo. So keep pressing us because we want to give you the best content ever. All right. So once more, thanks, everyone. It was great to have you all here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of the day.
Yeah.